Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Driven Wild. Today we are talking about why restaurants should be treating delivery equal to in-person dining. So, as we all know, there are a significant amount of restaurants that choose not to treat delivery drivers the same as they would in-person dining. So they keep us on the back burner. We have to wait extensive amounts of time to actually deliver the food. And it's all because either they think poorly of gig workers or they think that the 30% cut that they take out of their profits is too much, and quite honestly it is. But that being said, somebody actually wrote an article on why they should be treated equally. Now, we all know it should be the case anyway, but I want to hear what they have to say about it and see what we can add on to it as gig workers. So with that said, let's get started. The food service business landscape has dramatically shifted in recent years. Many restaurants were forced to close their doors when the United States was first severely affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Practically overnight, restaurants were forced to react to adapt to stay-at-home orders, bans on indoor seating, bans on gatherings. Once the initial shock over, many restaurants reopened in new forms that were bolstered by the support of delivery services like Uber Eats, Doordash, and Instacart. Even restaurants that had resisted online delivery services and apps were forced to get on board. I am shocked that there were not more closures than there actually were, actually speaking. It doesn't matter where you were. If you weren't making money as a restaurant and your profit margins are already thin, how were you making money? And the 30% cut on top of that was painful. According to MarketWatch, Zachary Davis of the Glass Jar Restaurant Group said that he avoided joining the services before the pandemic because of the additional fees. After the pandemic hit, though, it was only for his restaurants to continue operating. According to Upserve, by July 2020, 47% of restaurant owners that said their biggest challenge was shifting their business model to include online orders. According to the National Restaurant Association report, 53% of individuals now believe that online ordering is essential to the way they live, via QSR magazine. I wouldn't go as far as saying it's essential to the way they live, but I certainly understand where people are coming from saying it's actually important to their lives. Not to mention essential for the business model, because with Uber Eats, DoorDash, and all that, regardless of whether you feel that they're treating people fairly or not, the fact is people are still utilizing those services more often than most people give them credit for. Even though pandemic lockdowns have ended, many diners became accustomed to using delivery services. There seems to be no going back for the restaurant industry. According to QSR magazine, restaurants formally separated their in-person dining or on-premises diners and off-premises diners. They say that restaurants now need to think of their services as being omni-prem because of the increase of presence online delivery orders. Both off and on premises orders are increasingly representative of the restaurant's overall quality. Yeah, it's amazing how restaurants can consider in-person and delivery orders completely differently. Not to mention, sometimes they'll actually provide a different quality of food or different portion of food based on the fact that they're getting it delivered. Chipotle is notorious for this, for actually providing less than their proper size, people requesting a double portion of meat and then getting less than a single portion. I actually made a video talking all about that incident. Feel free to check that out. McKinsey notes that using these delivery services is unsustainable under pre-pandemic business models. Consider Chipotle's business. Digital orders now represent 50% of the chain's business, according to payments. According to McKinsey, if delivery orders are overtaking valuable kitchen labor space, it affects the on-premises dining and increases the restaurant's fixed costs. According to Yahoo Finance, Chipotle already adjusts its operating costs by raising in-app delivery prices by 13% to account for the increased costs. If other restaurants are seeing similar increases in digital orders, they'll need to shift their pricing accordingly to cover delivery fees. And consumers will start to see more restaurants increasing their in-app delivery fees. Now, most people actually prefer to go through a specific restaurant's website or app, and then it would be outsourced to DoorDash or Uber Eats, mostly DoorDash. DoorDash, though. Sometimes Grubhub, but few and far between. And what they're not saying here is that they're not only charging the customer 13% more, they're applying their own delivery fees, number two. And number three, they're actually stealing tips from the drivers in some cases. Papa John's is notorious for this. Anthony's Coal-Fired Pizza will casually forget to mention to DoorDash, specifically the company, that the list of items they receive is not the list of items that they're supposed to get. So that 30% they're supposed to be taking from the full order, they're only taking 30% from the items in which that they're claiming to DoorDash and then giving the driver more. I made a video talking all about that as well, so feel free to check that out. This is my opinion. It's worth what you pay for it. None of you pay me. There you go. Restaurants should be treating delivery customers the same as in-person customers, for sure. But not only that, they should be treating drivers who actually pick up their food and actually make sure that the quality of food that they have is actually the way it's supposed to be. The overall treating of us is treated like less than citizens. Like, merchants have the ability to rate drivers, but drivers don't have the ability to rate merchants. Customers will then blame the driver instead of blaming the restaurant. There's an overall less priority for delivery orders than there are for in-person orders. And not to mention, within all of that, when a restaurant doesn't want to do their job, they put us so far on the back burner, they ask us to leave and unassign the order because they're taking so long to do their job. The Cheesecake Factory is notorious for that. I was doing an order from a place nearby here. It's a small business, but their business model was basically treating drivers like they're second-class citizens. Like, do your job and provide for the people that are actually paying you. There is one positive thing I got from this article. If 53% of people believe that online delivery is now essential to their lifestyle, then that basically says the gig economy isn't going anywhere. Or at least anytime soon. And that goes as far as the companies themselves. Will we become employees? I sincerely doubt it. I feel like the independent contractor lifestyle is too valued at this point for them to try to change it now. And they've always tried to fight for that. The other thing that we would have to worry about is robots taking over. That's like a decade away, if anything. I know that they're testing it on campuses at this point, but there are too many people that are pulling pranks on those robots right now. That's not even worth it. Either way, good on these people for pointing out what is an important thing to note as people who run a restaurant, that they need to be treating drivers as equally as they would anybody else who comes in their restaurant. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace!